won yesterday.
Feels
so
good.
the entire team is having fun playing on this stage, and they already found success. See if they can repeat it here today, banning out some of the very common bans we've come to see here. Kiana, Aurelia already off the table. Hooney's Rumble, not going to be in there either.
And while the players have changed, I'm sure the idea kind of around Hooney and whatnot will stay the same. Artemis used to be on that Dignitas team as a coach, now on Evil Geniuses. So he has that idea of how they may want to get that top lane going as we finalize our bans here with the last few seconds. It's going to be a Lucian as we get into picks.
Yep, definitely some Hooney tailoring there, but also Lucian's just super popular as far as flex picking for solo lanes in the current scrim meta. Senna and Aphelios, the most common of marksman trades.
I love it. Other regions are MF Varus. We get the Senna, the Aphelios, and the Tom Kench to go along with that. Keep Aphelios quite safe.
Yeah, so we've come to know that you always need some sort of defensive support with the Aphelios to keep them safe. Senna could be a little bit more aggressive, and Senna has a couple more options with the speed and the shroud that you can have by hiding your support, your jungler, to go for a little bit more of those multi-person plays. But a Gangplank is locked in on the side of Dignitas as well. And this is one of Hooney's strongest champions. He has played this over and over and over, and it lends itself to some bottom lane focus, maybe wanting to help out Johnson and Aframu.
Do like that. Hooney's aggression across the map without Hooney actually having to be there is always very powerful. We'll see what these second phase bans come out to be. Elise will dive in under the turrets in the early game on this one. Get that pick out of there. Dignitas will now figure out what they want to take out of the hands of Evil Geniuses. Still looking for that jungler. Still looking for that mid laner.
Yeah, I expect Evil Geniuses to throw another jungle ban up here and then use their first pick in the second round on the remaining one of the early game junglers. You know, Rek'Sai, Gragas, Jarvan. Those are the ones still floating around in the pool. And Dignitas also going to whittle it down and take off that Jarvan. So Rek'Sai definitely rises in priority. Somebody's going to probably ban Gragas if they want to take him down.
What about Olaf? Surprised not to see Olaf yet. Still pretty powerful. Early game. We'll see 10 seconds on this last one for EG. Taking their time, figuring out what they really want to take away from Dignitas. And there's the Olaf.
There you go. I think something that could put a little bit more pressure on something like the GP, since Kumo did get his Aatrox counterfake into it, is going to be what they're going to go for in their first round.
Jizuke. Very nice.
Yeah, they know Svenskeren and Jizuke want to play together. There's the third of the ganking junglers that I mentioned. The Gragas that didn't get banned does go through, and that is indeed their pickup. Gives you the body slam flash possibilities in the early game. Svenskeren, notably, when he was on Cloud9, he really made a name for himself with the Yasuo Gragas combo. They utilized that very effectively throughout the entire year.
I saw that moving C9 Academy around to utilize that throughout the entire year. Absolutely. Lee Sin picked up on the side for Greg. Going to try to be aggressive in the early game. Greg's been known to make some plays happen. Can be an impact player. We'll see if he can start that early in the season and keep it going for Dignitas. A final pickup here for that mid lane. The Orianna for Froggen. I love it. The Lady of Clockwork is locked in.
Yeah, he's got a blind pick, and it's kind of difficult in the current meta, so he goes with the safest. Orianna, shield self, can play lane defensively when needed. Is definitely going to be a target for body slam flashes from the Gragas, though. So let's see what Jizuke wants to run into it. We expect him and Svenskeren to try and go for some kills, especially if they're looking at an Orianna. Azir, maybe not that as explosive, though, as you're hoping.
Not great. You can usually just move the ball around Azir and give him a hell of a time in lane, but obviously you have soldiers to play back with. We have both comps now on the screen here as Evil Geniuses set up to play their first game.
You can make Azir a little bit more early game oriented too if you want to go for the Luden's Echo kind of bursty style. So we'll see what Jizuke actually goes for, but they definitely are set up with a decent amount of late game as well. Both teams not too scared of it.
So Dignitas played quite a bit towards top lane yesterday. Do you think they're going to have to do that as much with the Hooney Gangplank, or can they start to focus around the map?
I say leave the Gangplank by himself to farm up.
The island for the pirate.
Use the Gangplank ultimate on the bottom half or elsewhere in the map for some counter engages. Try and get it going.
About to be in game in 10 seconds. Here you see the coaches giving their final words to the players. Evil Geniuses about to set onto the Rift. The MVP, Summer Honda MVP, and Sven Skaren surrounded by the C9 trio. And Jizuke and Bang locked into this team. Bang has some ground to make up for himself. I think the perception last year was kind of down and out after the first few games, and he wasn't able to show world-class experience, because that's what you expect. But it takes time to build in a new region, and this could absolutely be the year we see Bang do exactly that. Come out with a bang.
Yep, first time on stage for the Evil Geniuses, and let's see what they have against Dignitas. Coming out hot off of their 1-0 start to the LCS.
For sure. Going to be a good test for Johnson, too, on that bot side. You see Froggen and Jizuke on the screen there. I'm excited to see what comes out of this mid lane. You heard Dash say what Victor's Froggen was, or Froggen's Victor was yesterday, is basically what you should see out of Jizuke. That kind of stylistic, saucy play as the Italian Stallion goes hard in his mid lane. We are on to the Rift, and we are about to see what Evil Geniuses has for the spring split.
Right off the bat, I'd say with the Braum Senna here for Dig, they have the option of going for an early game play. Braum, Q, and the passive combine for a lot of aggressive invade opportunities. And it looks like they're going to do just that. Splitting up here.
I like the various positions of trying to head in, making sure everybody can also escape and have a way out. So, Kobe, obviously, jungle's changed a bit, but a favorite route for you, obviously, 3 camps to start, but do you ever deviate? Do you ever do something crazy?
For solo queue, I pretty much always do buff, Gromp, and I just start on whichever side is opposite the matchup that I want to gank. For solo queue,
Okay.
it's very easy. You just look at your top lane matchup, say in this case, Gangplank, Aatrox. That's definitely gankable for you. So if you're Sven Skaren and you wanted to gank for that matchup, you would start on blue, do the Gromp, then head up to red, and you'd be right there for a very early timing. However, they're starting on top side, and he wants to go for a downward path, and they're actually getting counter invaded.
Hooney's going to be first on this. Remember, Lee Sin, pretty big damage early game, and they have to be sure that they get away from that so Sven Skaren can continue to clear his jungle. So, single buff lost there. Can't be buff Gromp, but it's going to be something buff Gromp.
We've seen this again. Running the Gragas out of his own jungle. Late invade here with the Lee Sin for Grig. Grig, one of those guys that had questions to answer as far as starting on the LCS stage here. And yesterday, he had a very good game on the Elise. Now starting out with an early lead over Sven Skaren. Lee Sin can go red buff right over to his own red buff. If you do this, then there's no way that Sven Skaren's going to be able to get a second buff for himself. Doesn't matter if you show through the lane like this, even though Jizuke knows and he's not going to be the recipient of a gank or anything. It's just about covering those bases and denying Gragas' second buff.
That was a nice early word there for Jizuke. Also playing to the side of his jungler. Good tendencies to start. Things you would expect to see right off the bat. There's Aerie on that Azir and Phase Rush for Froggen. So he's looking to get in and out of these attacks so he doesn't take that right there. Those soldier swipes over and over.
Yeah, Froggen doing his best to keep that minion wave out in front of the turrets. CSing just fine for himself. Hooney gets the early push here onto Kumo. See how much he can actually deny. Barrel zoning doesn't get him too far away.
Sven Skaren looks like he's heading back towards the top side of his jungle. Predator for him, Conqueror for Grig. Also a reason Sven said no thank you to any early fights. As we'll see where Grig tries to grow here, and maybe he's trying to read a bit more after this Scuttle Crab, and right now on a ward.
Again, like I was talking about yesterday on the early invade game, one of the most important things when you have the upper hand in the jungle matchup off of an early invade like this is denying Scuttle Crabs to your opponent. Those Scuttle Crabs were not nerfed at all. They're a very valuable resource. And if you're trying to keep Sven Skaren down, Grig's able to get it. Finds that he's on Krugs, but it's a little bit too late. Sven Skaren has already been able to complete the Krugs and actually surpass him in farm count.
Go figure, it's Sven Skaren, right? So Grig coming over from TSM Academy, but also a bit of TSM. It was the back and forth trade between him and Acadian previous. So still has the LCS experience, has played quite a bit in those intense kind of moments. He's showing here early game that he can get in Sven Skaren's head, but can he stay there? Can he continue to make that work?
Well, one of the reasons why Sven Skaren ahead in experience here, if you spend a lot of time walking across the map to these objectives that are very far apart. You know, red to red, then back up top for that Scuttle Crab.
Yep.
It's a lot of travel time. And Svenskeren just farmed his own camp, so he was able to get it. Now here with Scuttle Crab number 2, though, it's going to be the early level 4 and a gank from Sven.
Sven's coming in. The Predator is on. Who's he going to be able to hit first? A nice block by Aftermove as he gets back. Nothing's really going to be actuated there, and they get themselves away. TP's towards the bot side, though. That's going to feel good for EG.
Yeah, that was double TPs used by Dignitas. Really good call on the play from Evil Geniuses to just not commit. They don't dive, they don't chase anything, and that is both solo laners now losing their teleports to defend that gank.
A crashing wave on the top side too, and that was a CS lead for Huni, so he has a bit of time to walk around, but still, those TPs could be coming up big quite soon. Nicely done by EG, as you said, to back off. We'll take stock of the lanes. Pretty even across the board for now. Jungle pressure has not been able to influence all too much. We see that, as we said, Svenskeren getting back to the game. Predator boots immediately ganking towards the bot side of the map, though.
I mean, it was one of the big things for Dignitas yesterday was their defensive play around a lot of the engagements that they were seeing. So it definitely comes to mind why they would actually react so quickly to an attempted gank on the bottom lane. But in the end, they lose out on some very valuable resources, some time for those mid laners. Now we'll see if EG can actually punish it, because now it is EG with teleport advantage on top side. Kumo was able to just recall and walk back to lane because of that wave that you're talking about, getting pushed into Huni's turret. So it is teleport advantage, and there's a possibility of EG trying to set up a play and bring the extra top laner.
Slow clear on Krugs here for Gragas. Should be popped soon as he gets the last few bots down. And he's not even going to go for that. He thinks the lane's pushed up far enough. He doesn't want to lose this chance, so he starts to move towards top side already, waiting for what would be Grig over the wall, and now he should have sight of him. Nice job by Svenskeren to play the waiting game, but needs to have the fight just right.
And I kind of want to talk about that, because that was not an attempted gank from Svenskeren. Whenever you see a very big wave building, like the minions that are up here by the tower, there's a possibility of going for that dive, denying your top laner. So Svenskeren, this is one of the things that he does really well that doesn't show up in the stats, doesn't show up in the MVP profile, is coming to cover his laner when there's a big wave that's building to make sure that it's not denied from him. And that is even more important now in Season 10, that solo lane experience is a huge resource, and it actually gained more ground comparatively when you pair it up versus farming a jungle camp.
And it's cool to think of how that all played out, right? They probably thought about that happening as soon as Kumo was able to back, and that wave was bouncing way ahead of time, and that's how Svenskeren started to make his path work towards the top side of the map. A lot of steps ahead before they're even able to do them, and working out so far for EG. One, to deny a lot of teleports to the top side, and what could have been a dive on Kumo towards top. Reading Dignitas so far, but yet to gain an advantage, I'd say, on either side. Just about 400 gold lead for Dig.
And the biggest part when you go for a blue buff invade like this is the ability of your lanes to collapse. Mid and bottom were pushed in by Dignitas, so that's why Grig started up on that blue buff, but because they actually edge on over, they stop the blue buff, and he just goes over for the neutral dragon here, starts it up himself.
Should be nice and easy with the lane a bit pushed. A few wards forward. This is a pickup for Infernal for Grig, and the side of Dignitas. Kumo rotating out real quick. Looks like he's trying to do Krugs for himself before he gets to himself top side again.
In the end, blue buff is fed over to Jizuke on this year. Definitely going to go a long way as far as him farming up towards that mid-game spike. Bottom side does equalize after the dragon was taken too, but getting that Infernal super early on for Dig is going to feel very nice. It makes you a lot more comfortable as you proceed. And they're actually trying to split time between both neutral objectives here. Froggen's going to have to get back to mid for a minion wave though, so Kuni's going to have to finish it by himself. And Froggen goes to collect that experience.
I think Kumo knows as well. He says, my lane is also missing. So now they start getting in Predator here for Svenskeren. That's definitely going to fear for Grig and Huni as they make their way out of the fight. Over the wall with Jizuke. He wants to fight as the team's doing Rift, but he pushes them towards his team. And now he's almost cordoned off. Svenskeren now needs the body slam over the wall, and he should be able to do so. Got a little hairy for a moment, but Rift is picked up by Evil Geniuses.
Well, it definitely seemed to be a split call. Svenskeren and Kumo wanted to finish that Rift Herald very clearly, and Jizuke goes for the attack, shuffles 2 people in.
As we would expect, though, from Dignitas.
In the end, they get the objective, and no harm, no foul. Nobody loses their life or any important cooldowns. So it's just going to be the Azir ultimate and should be back up fairly shortly.
Haven't seen too much action in bot lane since this first Sven gank once he got his boots. Felios 89 CS, the Senna is 91. Not too much explosive damage there. Bang's not coming back to lane with a huge item to just start crushing things down within the next few levels. So that feels good as Johnson finishes his man immune. Griff back on top.
That last play also highlights how the new Rift Heralds, especially this early, it takes pretty long to do that first Rift Herald. So it's not like an objective you can quickly sneak. You know, Grig was on it for quite a long time, takes a decent amount of damage as Lee Sin. And it gives plenty of time for Evil Geniuses to actually come over. Kuma was the one that dropped the control ward over the back of the pit, I believe.
Yeah.
And it gave enough time for the rest of the team to react, and they end up actually gaining the rewards of Dig starting up that objective themselves. So while there definitely are big rewards and you want to use that Rift Herald on some turret plates, get some early cash in, it's definitely going to be a time investment, and you have to consider that.
So far, the movement has seemed to be in Dig's favor up until that Herald, so maybe they can make it work a little bit easier if we see Huni coming back out of lane. We expected him to stay top, but the teleports came out very early. We see the intentions for Dig.
Oh, they're going mid.
Get all lanes fed immediately. It's fed over the wall. Gets chopped up and spit out for safety by Zeyzal. A great play to get the first kill of the game.
So it wasn't on screen, but I could see by the cooldowns, Jizuke immediately goes with the other ultimate from Azir. As soon as it comes off cooldown, he goes in on Froggen, burns Froggen's flash, and then calls his teammate over. So that was a huge play earned by Jizuke, even though on screen all you saw is Svenskeren gets to go over the wall. Woo! Nice kill. And it is EG collecting that first blood. But I have to say, big props going to Jizuke putting in the work. And then, because they already had Rift Herald, they get to capitalize on it.
Let's see how they do this.
There's the play I was talking about, where he goes under the turret, gets the damage, and puts the flash off of Froggen. Don't know if my audio was actually going out to stream or not there, because we could hear it in-house, but that was the play that I was talking about.
It looked good. I mean, I want to see that play from Jizuke all the time. Pull the trigger when he can. He had the ult immediately when the team was doing Rift Herald. He ulted immediately when he saw an opportunity that the team could follow up on, and it wasn't even immediately to follow up on. It was kind of putting the pieces in place. So seeing how this Evil Geniuses starts to orchestrate their fights has been pretty cool. Zeyzal on the bot side grabbing some rush control as they just stay safe as well for this Aphelios farm.
And that's the name of the game with Aphelios, Riv. This guy can put out so much damage if you get the correct weapon combinations later in the game, but without any innate defenses in his own kit, we always see the Tomkins or the Braum drafted alongside him. Plus, in this composition for Evil Geniuses, they're looking to have Jizuke's Azir ultimate double as appealing tool later on in team fights for the Aphelios and keep their back line fully offensive.
Jizuke feels great right now. Nasher's finished. He's almost level 11. I'm sure he'll take a fight in mid if they try to bring it to him. Svenskaren's already hovering around it with that pink ward control. We did just see Zeyzal walk through a ward, but again, the ult's up, and Froggen may go down. The Senna ult from bot lane. Gonna give a bit of assistance as Grig comes in as well to boot there. Aphromoo is right up the river. Huni now trying to get a chance in this fight. Kick back. Jizuke gets himself to safety as Zeyzal now is walking around. Still has a great health, so no worry for him. Teleports coming in from everywhere as Kumo's now in the fight with World Ender down. They may lose Grig, but he safeguards over the wall. Kumo missed with the last Q, and now he's got to make himself to safety. It's going to be a 4v1. Nobody wants to help Kumo anymore, and they tear the wings off the Aatrox.
The great escape, Riv. That was back-to-back big escapes from multiple members. And we'll have to wait for the replay to go step by step. In the aftermath of everybody going mid, it is Bang on bottom, but also if you look at the minimap, Huni is mining plates off of top for Dignitas. So both teams are mining plates. It's going to be an attempt at Dragon during this little river skirmish, though.
Oh, Sven. This will be tough. Team's coming up, though. You have Bang and Zeyzal just below. Jizuke says, I need this blue or I can't do much. Hold it as long as you can. And that is going to feel even longer when you need it immediately. Looks like he's going to be able to grab it. So Mounabar is charging up. 4v4 currently at the fight as Kumo's coming out of base slowly.
Definitely low on health here for Jizuke, but with the blue buff, maybe they're thinking about sticking around. Bank's going back, but he's got teleport on Aphelios, so Dignitas is going to have to let that dragon leash.
Zazel takes the check for the team. Bang actually TP's in, so he does that to make sure because they want to reset it. They're going to take it back out here. They say we now have the fight because we have the numbers. Hooney's towards the top side, teleports up, but ult is down.
Kumo's in mid lane, but he can walk over right now behind Froggen. This could be a pincer movement.
It's one hell of a dance, Kobe. What is the 1600 for the dragon? Hasn't reset just yet. Teams are both on it. There goes the cask. It's going to be Jizuke picking it up as it is Svenskeren going down. They're going to be able to follow up onto Zazel. But a Drake for a Drake now as that one ends finally.
And even though Dignitas lose the Drake, they've got Hooney farming on the top side. Yeah. He finishes that one, and they get 2 kills for themselves. The individual power of that Drake buff. Well, never mind.
Oh, Jizuke low, now goes down as he tries to get in there with the ultimate. It was up, you have to fight. And Bang goes in, Graviton kill. Beautifully done. Has to send him as well as he tries to get the damage ripped out with the turret on the ground, but it's not going to be enough. He pulls back with Aphelios for now, and Alphamoot and Johnson go back to farming.
Yeah, if Bang had not flashed in to get that extra kill, it would be a pretty big resurgence here for Dignitas. Let's now finally try and go back and take a look at some of the replays. So much action taking place. It was a smite fight, but in the end, yeah, it is Jizuke that's going to get the last hit there. It does cost them the 2 kills, and it looks like Dig are going to be able to push after that. But we have the outstanding play here on the bottom side. So Jizuke does get annihilated first, completely burst down. Grig goes in, Aphelios, it was an auto attack and the turret shot, then being able to flash in for the last auto here to cancel that kill out.
Looking to get back over to Johnson, currently 39 souls on the Senna. So he's right there on that mark. Get a little extra attack damage range. It's gonna feel nice.
Yeah, and 3 kills for himself. Keeps on getting the last hits here, so he is powering along, already 40. Building up towards the lethality, feeling very, very good. With the blue buff as well, it makes a bit safer here in mid lane. Even though there's 4 members of EG, it looks like they're trying to set up a little bit of a counterattack. Again, it is Hooney split pushing on the Gangplank bottom. This is level 11 Gangplank now. So he's just itching to use that ultimate once again. Now it's rank 2, provides that huge AoE for them to engage on and allow Froggen an easier shockwave.
His TP is up too on Hooney's side. Kumo's is not, so he has 2 ways to affect the other side of the map when he wants. Kumo's gonna have to follow with just a walk up the river. Second Rift Herald, Heraldine being taken down. Shelly is the first, Heraldine is the second. If you didn't know, they're cousins. 17 minutes in, you're only going to have a few more minutes to take down the Rift Herald before Baron's going to be on the map, and this is going to be another fight to get the turrets down.
You talked about it, Riv. Kumo is teleportless on the Aatrox, and since he's walking up from river, there's no way for EG to fight this. It would be a 4v5 for them because Hooney is in position first. So that is an objective, again, gained for Dig.
And they're going to pop it right in the mid lane. They obviously see it coming with the ward. Not going to matter, though. Just going to knock down this turret, and they'll be able to add a few more hits on the map. Beautifully done. Wards forward if they can start pushing those towards the right side and start seeing where Evil Geniuses will start to be coming from. They already have one towards the Raptor Brush on that left shoulder to make sure they don't get flanked.
I have to say, the more we keep seeing of this Dig team, their coordination and their mid game is definitely looking quite good. See what Jizuke can actually do, though. Pushing out here on the Azir, just trying to get some farm back in his coffers to try and get up to the rest of the build. Teleports are now coming off cooldown for them, so there shouldn't be any more plays like that where Dig can force it without having to give something up. Hooney, though, farming right away on that Gangplank. Trinity Force is already completed, so very willing to come and bring that burst damage.
There's Jizuke. Ult is up. He's heading towards the top side of the map. Dignitas looks like they're in a very good spot to even start a fight on the map if they want to. Strengthen Hooney. Froggen's looking very good right now with that loot. It's finished. Just have to make sure they find that right fight since Garen can split that up very, very good with an explosive cast, and then it would be hard to get everybody back in. See if Jizuke's gonna get blue. Nope, he's top, so they may trade this one over. Ultimate onto Jizuke here. Froggen in the 1v1 as the center shot comes in from Johnson. Now Huni threes a crowd, and Jizuke is gonna be able to flash out of this. Possibly dissonance and the command move. It won't happen. He's not gonna go forward for it, but they do get the flash of Jizuke.
Yep, flash and a big chunk out of the health bar.
Yeah.
With 25 seconds left on the Dragon, he will be able to go replenish his health in the fountain and head back out to lane, but that will give Dig time to set up full vision control leading to this Dragon. And when you face this team that has an Orianna, the ball sitting there provides so much zoning through these small corridors that lead up to the Dragon. So try and see Evil Geniuses actually walk all the way around and through this center brush.
I think that's a really awesome point, Kobe. You lose track of where the ball is. Another game that you have to play. Sven goes in. Zanyas is down. They throw Glacial Fissure to the other side of the team, and that absolutely walls off Evil Geniuses. They wanted too much, but it was too far away as Sven went too deep. Sazel could be the next one going down, and they instantly hit him as well. That's a kill for Froggen. And now Dignitas is feeling great.
Yeah, they are. That was a big flop from Gragas. Not able to get anything as far as the initiation goes. Getting into the center and just spreading everyone out with the ultimate. Dig pick off the kills. They're going to pick up the objective effortlessly afterwards. And this is going to be a huge push forward them. The mid game now will be all in their control.
Look at the Senna. 450 gold bounty, 402. I dare say perfect in every situation, Kobe. Here's the fight again.
Yeah, let's take another look. All right, Sven's going in. He wants to get the single person knocked back into his team and then Zonius while they kill him, but he doesn't get the angle. Lee Sin and Braum, both mobile champions, and they get to the sides of that ultimate, so neither of them actually gets knocked back into a dangerous spot.
Right.
As they're both able to avoid the initiation, and then Dig can turn around on the low health Gragas as soon as the stopwatch wears off, giving them the numbers advantage and allowing the turn.
Definitely track the fights and engages from Svenskeren. I know a point and a note that we continue to say about this jungler is always able to find those important engages, even when your team's behind. Here, being flustered a bit because Dignitas knows that's coming. You played against Svenskeren for so long. The Summer Split Honda MVP is going to be the first one into the fight. So how can they mix that with Kumo? How can they maybe mix that with Zazel in another Jizuke ultimate? It seems to be getting tougher for them to find a way into this Dignitas squad. Whoa, oh my word. Zeroed out, one auto attack. The next one's going to do it as it builds up a little bit of damage there in her passive of Clockwork Wind-Up. Jizuke is now going to feel the pain of that command move, command protect, as Froggen gets himself to safety. Abyssal Voyage towards the top side as EG scrambling to get members to the right side of the map.
And if you look at the map right now, this is open territory for the push here for Dig. They've got all three lanes pushing into towers right now. It's a wraparound from Johnson. He's actually looking now at Kumo in the bottom lane for the gank.
Huni take turret aggro. There it is. Turret's on him. Johnson's in. There's the hits. And the heals to boot as well, as they're going to be able to take that bottom side. There is the ultimate Emperor's Divide from Jizuke as they use it to instantly save turrets at this point. Not even initiate the fights. It's changed pretty quick from the beginning of the game.
Aframua's right, Riv. Johnson comes up big again. He pushed that mid wave, wrapped down through the jungle, meets up with Huni for the extra kill, and Dignitas are going to get almost and succeed in finishing off that extra turret.
They've definitely been able to move the map much better throughout the game, and it's kind of sending AG scattered to top lane, to mid lane, and they don't have enough people to fight each member of Dignitas that is there at the power they've reached. 1-0-1 for Huni, 3-1-3 for Froggen, and 4-0-4 for Johnson. The bot lane is deathless for Dignitas here.
Definitely big performances from everybody on the team thus far. Also, intelligent use of a lot of their globals. 2 teleports now, and the cooldown on Huni's ultimate is down to 86 seconds with the cooldown reduction already purchased in build. And rank 2 means he is going to make very quick work of those minion waves. Topside, another attempt here. Svenskeren's waiting in the brush, but Froggen hasn't overextended yet, and they might just call up the rest of the team. Jizuke very vulnerable.
That's 59 souls on Senna as well to keep you up to date on those. I'm still not waiting for, but the chance for Bang to get this Aphelios damage down. He's got the items to do a good front, a loaded hit on whatever he does hit with that ultimate, but can he get to the back line? There's still healthy items on a lot of the champions for Dignitas. We just haven't seen that full 5-man fight yet for EG.
And we have not seen Froggen overstep yet. He actually plays it fairly safe.
That's true.
Now Svenskeren leaves that brush.
Oh. There's one ultimate. It's going to be a Gravitum, so that's just a lockdown. Not even the damage follow-up.
Froggen's going for the kill. He chases Jisuke back, and Svenskeren's finally behind him.
Has he gone too far? You called for it, Kobe. The caster curse. Are they going to be able to pick it up? Oh, my word. Taken out completely. Orianna's damage is not to be messed with, especially with a blue buff this late in the game. She can just dance around the fights and make it work for herself. The team's now on to Baron, and Dignitas is going to pick up a big objective.
At that point, you start to feel a bit sorry for him. When the flops just keep coming, this is going to be Dig Baron, though. And Dig Baron in 2020 has been very, very good. Grig's going to kick him out, gets the secure. 100% secure rate for Dignitas in the LCS 2020 on their Barons.
Mind-blowing. Trend-setting and also breaking trends. I love it. So a few Drakes now looking for third and a fourth on the side of Dig, and you only have one for Evil Geniuses. But keeping them healthy, keeping them around, they have to make sure those structures stay strong, though. Nobody's really there to make that impact engage, as we said before, and Dignitas knows it, as they just have Froggen topside defending himself.
So while in the early game, Jizuke kept making a lot of plays on Froggen. Froggen is now using the mobility of Orianna with the speed up to continually get these chunks onto Jizuke, which open up those plays like that, where he can even 100% the jungler when he's coming to attack him. Now they're wearing Baron and Riv. This game isn't going to last much longer because they are closing complete control around the EG base.
Inhib damage coming in. I love the cannon in the back. He's doing what he can, and it will be one inhibitor going down with this Red Bull Baron power play. There it is. The Sun Disc goes up, which means Jizuke wants to kind of set up base outside of base, but in his own base. Is there enough base there? And not for EG. Dignitas is taking it over. 26 minutes into this game, they've already started knocking on the front door.
Yep, they can set up themselves for Soul Point with this extra dragon. That will be 3 and awaiting the Dragon Soul to arrive. Baron buff will allow them to push out the waves and get plenty of new items with their reset as well. So should be very, very straightforward. Huni heading to the top side of the map to pick up those minions as well. They don't want to let any gold go to waste. They'll usher these minions right on in.
That's the right game to play. Keep pressing your advantage. Never get lax, never fall back and feel like something has been enough. You always want to get more, and that's exactly what they're doing here on the bot side. Johnson picking up his souls 4 strong as they pressure this bottom inhibitor turret. Huni heading up the mid lane.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key point. I don't think Dig will step any closer because they don't have Huni. Well, they don't have a choice.
Is that going to be Kumo? Yes, it is, from inside the base. Now they're trying to figure this out. We're watching them plot how to assess the fight. It's Svenskeren and Greg. Jungler feed jungler. Mono we mono as the fight goes between the teams. They're going to lose Kumo first. Svenskeren has to get out of that one as Greg is just throwing too many punches.
He got him.
Now, it looks like they're going to be trading this one. Sonic Wave in. Body Slam stops the damage, and it's just going to be a cat and mouse as they chase each other down. Remember, Huni was running down mid as well throughout all of this, so he joins with the team, and they are going to be making it work inside the base of EG and maybe putting the final touches down. Things are getting a little hectic.
Oh, payback. Frog is going to flash over that wall and take his revenge again.
Dignitas will start off strong in the spring split. They will find themselves starting 2-0, and they'll take this win over Evil Geniuses.
Dignitas is back, baby. Woo!
It looks good. Johnson having a great game, 5-0-4, just cresting the 13,000 gold mark. He had 13,008 gold at the end of the game. Nice.
Go down the checklist, Riv.
Boom.
I mean,
Nice
everything is following on the list here for Dignitas. Huni still has not died this year in the LCS. Johnson popping off once again. Everybody performing. Grig in the jungle, Froggen playing mid.
Let's talk about that. Huni not dying. In a position where like Huni is just going to throw himself into the fire each game because that eventually becomes Huni. No, it's not. This is so far within 2 games and only 2 games. Yeah, caveat. But Huni has definitely shown a bit of a different play style with that aggression tapped into it.
Yesterday, he builds Stoneplay Aranect in second so he can play frontline for the team. Today, he shows he still has that Huni magic on Gangplank.
Right.
Very good use of the ultimates, good side wave control for him. Froggen, after being the victim of the all-in early on from Jizuke and the flash over the wall there for Svenskeren to get first blood, it turned around very quickly. And Froggen in the side lanes with the Orianna kept on earning advantages that then set up plays for Dig to get.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about the bottom lane anymore because Johnson and Aframu, he said it best in the video himself. Pretty much perfect at all times. And then Grig, of course. This is a guy that people had a lot of questions about. And we even had reservations.
Yeah.
We're very cautious because they didn't have success with the Acadian Grig duo on TSM, but seems, new team, new colors.
Right.
And
it's hard to say before because you see somebody in a spotlight, then they're taken out, and then in a spotlight. So you can't really put that performance together in history.
Definitely seems to be working out now.
Froggen didn't as well. Froggen's known as the resource master. Give me everything. And yeah, he got a bit, but farm around is pretty equal. It's not like he had 300 plus. He was making things work for himself. And on Victor now and on Orianna, pretty disgusting. He's only, I think, died twice. I think he had 1 kill on the Victor too. So a lot of what's happening for Dignitas is going well. As you were saying before, Svenskeren, the things that aren't really marked in what would be stats, but playing around what needed to be done that game, and just the result not happening. If those things had gone the other way, a much different game for Evil Geniuses. But definitely good things coming from them. Much to be built on, though, because we definitely didn't see what a lot of people thought. Making her LCS 2020 debut, Gabby is standing by with Huni and Johnson from Dignitas.
Thank you so much, Riv. I am indeed standing on by with quite some contrast. We have the only player to survive from last season, and then the newest kid on the block. So first things first, before I get some words from Johnson, Huni, 2-0 start. Some were questioning the decisions made by Dignitas going into it. So what do you make of that game, especially considering I already got a little feel you weren't feeling as confident in your own performance?
Yeah, I mean, about the first result of the 2-0, I just did Huni things. Huni's is in, Huni's undefeated. Like, what's new, Easy.
So this is the Huni toss you were referring to earlier. But now I got to get some words from Johnson. This was your first weekend on the stage. Everyone's been talking about you, what you have been able to do in solo queue. So how do you feel that you have been able to translate that into a stage performance so far?
I think so far I was able to translate so far in this game, but obviously the first game I didn't do that much. Also, I had a mouse bug, so I wasn't playing optimally, but yeah, it was pretty good this week.
Well, even with all of that being said, in Froggen's interview yesterday, he was talking about the fact that you all feel like a cohesive unit, everyone making a contribution. So many are looking to the solo lanes for Dignitas because of the star potential. So Huni, how important do you think it is to go forward as that cohesive unit as opposed to just leaning on a couple of the veterans?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people were worried about actually Huni. Can they play together? Huni is a Froggen, Afromu, those 3 people are already really big, brand, how they play style is completely kind of different. I was also kind of worried myself too that oh damn, how should we just synchronize this together? But as soon as I get into hop onto actually on the screen, it was nearly zero any problem, and how we play actually was really easy and was really smooth, and I think they're way better, way better than last year.
All right. I think anyone would be happy to hear something like that. Before we close things out here, Johnson, your first few words on your experience.
My experience so far is okay. I have great teammates who are uplifting and supportive because I'm a rookie and also have a bad experience in the academy, obviously. We managed 2-0. I was able to win against some well-known prestigious players like Crown, Svenskeren, Bang. I hope to get some more wins with my team, and we'll see.
Well, this time around, at the hand of Dignitas, the master plan has been foiled. for the meantime. But stay tuned because after this break, we are going to have TSM facing off against Immortals, and you don't want to miss it.